In this video, we are going to be covering what's going on in the crypto and NFT market, some major updates on some of our favorite projects, as well as some up-and-coming hype mints you definitely do not want to miss. So the first thing we got to talk about is what's going on in the crypto markets. So for the most part, things have been pretty steady. Around a month ago, Ethereum is at 1.2, and then now it's kind of at that 1.5, 1.6. Where will it go from here? Nobody knows, right? There are people who are looking at technical analysis, they're saying like, oh my God, it's going to go up. And other people are saying, oh, it's a bull trap, right? I think the thing you have to kind of consider beyond technical analysis is that the market is small enough where somebody could influence the price if they have enough money, right? So you just definitely want to keep that in mind. Whether the price goes up or down, you want to always consider black swans of things that cannot be seen with technical analysis. So always be careful and mindful of that. And also, crypto is really determined by how the S&P 500 does and how the overall economy is doing. And right now, in my personal opinion, people are not very confident in the S&P 500. So just keep that in mind. Now let's go ahead and get into what's going on with the NFT. So as you can see, the #1 top collection right now is going to be the Sewer Pass, which is related to the Yuga Labs ecosystem. Now we have talked about this before, where the Sewer Pass is going to allow you to play this game, and then the higher points that you get in the game, the greater reward that you get down the line, right? And remember, to actually get a pass, right, you actually have to have a Bored Ape, a Mutant Ape, or a combination of Bored Ape, Mutant Ape, and a Bored Kennel Club. As you can see, these are the combinations over here. The lowest is going to be Mutant, obviously. So I guess people are getting these things. They're worth something. They're kind of like free money, but at the same time, if you think about it, the price of a Mutant and a Bored Ape definitely did go down after people claimed their Sewer Pass. So it's not like it's always free money, because the value of one asset, let's say the Mutant Ape, will go down once people are able to mint the Sewer Pass, right? So there's kind of like that equilibrium in a sense, right? In a way, what I find personally interesting is that when we look at the actual game that we're playing, it almost looks like an iPhone or a Flash game, or like something that you download real quick and you play. But because there is some kind of incentive at the end, hopefully you get the most points and then you get some kind of special NFT. One of these tickets costs $2,000 to play. So it's really interesting to me to see that when people play a AAA game, for example, they're only willing to pay like 50, 60 bucks to, buy something on Steam or like on PlayStation 5. But then when it comes to this thing, just to have a ticket to play like a very simple Flash game is going to cost $2,000, only because there's this perspective to it where maybe you can make money if you play the game well and you get the points and things like that. When I look at this from the outside looking in, out having Yuga stuff, it's kind of like a game for adults where adults actually do want to speculate, they want to have fun. In a way, it's almost like gambling in a sense. I wouldn't call it gambling, just call it digital gaming. But that's pretty much what I see what it is. And it does get people excited, it gets people talking about it, gets me talking about it on this channel and people talking on Twitter. And so if that's the attention that you got to use to keep the project alive and thriving, then it is what it is. The next project we're going to talk about is going to be another project called Rug Radio. It's founded by this guy, Farouk. So in the past, he launched the Rug Radio Genesis NFT, where they're kind of like carpets. These are going to be his past for his media company, right? And he does a lot of Twitter Spaces, and he's building a platform essentially to help people like create content. The details of it, I think they're still working it out. But what is interesting is that they're going to be coming out with a PFP, right? So the rug was not enough. This is good for maybe a banner. Now they want to come out with a PFP so people can actually represent themselves on Twitter, which does make sense, right? Even for me, for the Parallax, when we minted, it was like a media play, right? And then we did an anime PFP because I realized at the time that everybody wants a PFP, right? Because they want to represent themselves on Twitter. So I understand that more and more of these like utility and media passes will move towards a PFP. And then people get excited about PFPs, it just is what it is. And what I found personally interesting is they came out with this concept called Listen to Earn. So how it works is you got to buy Rug Radio Genesis, keep it in your wallet. Then you got to opt in to this website, rugradio. And then whatever these rewards are. And so when you listen to their Twitter Spaces, which is what they want you to do because they make money on advertising, basically they will give you Rug tokens for earning that, and then somehow this is going to connect to how you're going to be able to get the PFP, right? I'm not sure the exact mechanic, is not super clear, but then you can opt in, earn rewards, so you basically get paid to listen. And so if you look at the value of a Rug Radio token, right now it is worth 0.05, so like 5 cents. So it's not too bad. Free money is free money, right? And if you're going to listen, you might as well get paid $1 for it, or like whenever in case it's, or a couple cents for it. I mean, to me, it's like, this is all experiment, right? So I would say it's quite interesting where, the POAP, the popes, meaning that a lot of times there are projects where they try to build up hype. What happens is that when they do a live AMA, they want as many people as they can so they can get attention. So let's say, hey, during this AMA, we're going to drop the POAP, which is a special code. Then you put it into, whatever software they use, and then you get your free something, or you get your free participation points that you can use to later claim a PFP. So an example of someone using POAPs pretty effectively is going to be Ryan Carson. He was the COO of Proof Collective of Kevin Rose, and he also helped launch Moonbirds, and basically he's launching his own project. And what he's doing that's interesting is that he's doing these Twitter Spaces, and then he drops these POAPs. So even in the Parallax community, if you want to join Parallax, definitely check out our Discord, link is in the description. You know, for people who are holders, we actually have this group where we're kind of like tracking what Ryan Carson's doing, and people who want to get the POIP, we all work together to figure out like the best way, strategies, and remind each other on when to get on these interviews and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a very effective strategy to get people on your live AMA, and then, you know, you reward them with like minting and POIP, which you can use for something else. So I kind of see like Ryan Carson doing it, Rock Radio doing it. It definitely is a meta, and it makes sense, right? Because people are going to come to your live AMA, they want to listen, they want to learn to see if it's something for them, and then somehow you reward them for something, right? It's better than nothing. And I think that that's going to be a popular trend moving forward in the future. And maybe it might die later on, which trends that come and go, but right now that is the current meta. All right, next piece of news that we have to cover today is going to be Azuki. Azuki recently made a partnership with Bilibili, so it's like a video platform where you got anime trending, stuff like that. Anime, as you know, I'm a big fan of anime, so they got millions of views. And then we're looking at SimilarWeb, which kind of tracks how many visits estimation like these websites are getting per month. This one's getting 60 million visits per month, which is pretty crazy. You got a lot of people from Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, United States. So quite a lot of people going on the .tv site. And then they have the .com site, which I believe is for China, right? Dude, this one gets 1 billion visits per month. This is definitely one of the largest platforms when it comes to like anime, that's for sure. Even when we look at Crunchyroll, right, which is pretty popular in the Western culture when it comes to anime, Crunchyroll gets about 80 million visits per month. So think about this, guys. Crunchyroll is getting 80 million. Their main Chinese website is getting 1 billion, right? That's 10x. So this is a pretty big company if you didn't know. I mean, I personally haven't used it because I don't use these particular websites to watch anime. I use different stuff, but it's huge, right? I think it's not to be underestimated. I suppose they're going to be collaborating with this other brand related to their company, Cheers Up. So apparently Cheers Up is already a project that's been out for a while. So it's been out in June, it's more than half a year. Floor price is 0.7. It's kind of interesting because I've actually never heard of this particular NFT project before. Maybe it's more popular in Asia, but it's holding its floor pretty well. Suzuki, Beanz, and Cheers Up collectors will receive an exclusive certified diamond label for verifying the PFP on Bilibili International. So I guess they're trying to get all the Web3 people onto Bilibili. And then if you have Azuki and a Beanz, you're gonna be able to get this badge and put it on your collector's profile. So they're not promising like the world, they're not saying like there's gonna be a ton of utility. I feel like, you know, those spaces moving towards digital collectability, and I can see people just doing this because they want to do it. Maybe they're a fan of anime, maybe they're a fan of these brands, and they just want to show people like, hey, you know, I was part of this thing, I just want to show it up, right? For collectibles especially, I feel like the social utility and social value of how it makes people feel is probably the most important part about NFTs, especially when it's all about like the social clubs. I don't want to go too deep into this, but if you want to check it out, you know, check out the Azuki thread and learn more about it. All right, next project that we have to cover is going to be the Porsche NFT. So Porsche essentially is launching an NFT with their 911 model, which is one of their most iconic models. So if you go on their website, nft.porsche.com, this is 7.5k NFTs, the 911 model, and then there's 3 rows to create the future. The way I look at this, and I looked at this beforehand, it's more like a digital collectibles, right? It is not like utility. It's not going to help you like buying a car or anything like that. It's just like people that love Porsche. Porsche sells like a lot of merchandise and stuff like that. So it kind of makes sense for them to get into collectibles. And then there's trying to make it more Web3 by having like phase 2 where you can go performance, heritage, lifestyle. Not very clear on what these things mean. And I feel like there's a missed opportunity there. Then you create your own rarity based on the direction you provide. You can unlock different design traits. Personally, for me, I'm really curious to see how this is going to go because it's not super Web3. I don't know if it really excites the Web3 audience that well. Because for example, if we took another car and it wasn't Porsche, but it looked really cool, I think people wouldn't be very excited. But because it is Porsche and it's the 911, which is very iconic, I'm talking about it, people want to know about it, right? For Web 2 brands going into Web 3, the main test that I kind of have for them is like, whatever it is that they're doing, is it exciting enough where if they weren't using their name and brand, it would still be something exciting for Web 3? And if it's no, then it's like, okay, well, then the brand has to carry it, right? It's kind of like when we saw the Game of Thrones NFT. It's like their whole digital collectibles and you put on armor and stuff like that. Now, if Game of Thrones didn't put their logo on it and stuff like that and branded it as Game of Thrones and it was just like any other new project, everyone would probably say it's a cash grab, right? Although this project isn't out quite yet, I mean, I'm curious to see, maybe it will work. Maybe there's enough collectors. Maybe they built a really strong community that want to buy this NFT, right? But for me, as someone who just like looks at the market to learn as much as possible, I'm very curious to see like if just doing art is enough when it comes to Porsche, because I would like to see more Web3 elements in this. But regardless, maybe it will be successful, maybe it won't. I don't really know, but it is interesting indeed. And so with that said, that's everything we got to cover for this video. If you learned something new today, make sure to give this video a like and subscribe, and I'm gonna see you in the next one.